time for a death battle!
Rewritten. Esdeath, the Imperial General from Akame got killed.
And Zero, Dr. Wily's Maverick Hunter. Carried 400,000 people, a weapon that would change everything. A Tegu.
Esdeath was already extremely proficient with a sword. Esdeath earned her reward.
Ice matches! She can make and shape ice out of thin air. Weapons, shields, platforms, horses, frickin' meteors. You name it, she can make it. Plus, she can fly by holding herself in the air with ice, and once built an entire army of ice horse people. There's thousands of them!
Well, it did take her a few days to make them all, implying she has a limit to her ability. Regardless, her enormous power is clear. She can even create a giant suit of armor around herself like some sort of icy mech of hers, which impresses above all else. Mahoptima.
Gesundheit. It's a time step she can only use once per day. It freezes time, but like literally freezes it with cold. Entire river with zero effort.
That isn't even a fraction of her true potential. After absorbing those tens of thousands of ice cavalry, Esdeath harnessed enough power to create an icy storm that spanned an entire continent. Comparing its size relative to the planet's diameter, producing a storm of this scale would require a kinetic energy over 280 petatons of TNT.
Super impressive. But remember, it took her, quote, a few days to make that many ice people. But Esdeath has tangled with the toughest rebels out there. Akame, who can dodge lightning, and dumb old Tansumi, who was strong enough to outmuscle this absolute unit of a Tega called
Shikoteza, or the Primus Imperator, was powerful enough to create a massive crater outside the Imperial capital. To make a crater of this size, the blast must have equaled over 900 teratons of TNT.
Her arm was poisoned, but before she let the poison spread to her body, she karate chopped her whole frickin' arm off and replaced it with an ice sword! I'm with a laser sword!
He's certainly well equipped for the job. The Z-Buster is Zero's go-to long-range weapon, with both rapid-fire and charge energy shots.
He's also got tons of deadly spears, hammers, and chains, but his favorite weapon is his trusty energy sword, the Z-Saber.
The Z-Saber is arguably Zero's most essential weapon. With it, he can cut other machines down to size with a wide variety of grounded and airborne strikes. Furthermore, he can enhance his blade by mimicking the power of his enemies. This lets him use the Z-Saber for attacks imbued with fire, ice, electricity, and even metal.
Zero can use the Twin Dream technique to create a clone which mimics his every move. He can summon robot dragonflies to fight alongside him, call down beams of energy from the sky with Rikoha, and even use Dark Hold to temporarily freeze time.
If necessary, Zero can activate Black Zero mode. This form halves his defense in order to double his attack power and quadruple his speed. He can also transform into the stronger and faster Absolute Zero. Yes, that's what it's called. In this form, he loses access to his Z-Sword and acquired abilities, but he gains razor-sharp claws and the power of flight.
He's defeated dozens of Mavericks and even Sigma himself, multiple times.
Not to mention stopping dozens of other threats to the entire planet, such as when Eurasia, an enormous city floating in space, fell to Earth in a crash course similar to the asteroid which annihilated the dinosaur.
By flying a space shuttle right into it like a badass. And he survived!
Zero was specifically built to be far superior to the original Mega Man, and learned he could keep up with the speedy Quickman and catch a 60,000-ton castle.
So, Zero's better than that.
Zero is undoubtedly Dr. Wily's greatest creation. He has his downfalls. Despite being a machine, Zero is susceptible to exhaustion, and if he receives too much damage, not even his auto-repair systems can return him from the brink. The winner is Esdeath.
And Zero was built to surpass Mega Man in every way.
Quickman's top speed was recorded at 224,000 miles per hour.
Esdeath has tangled with the toughest rebels out there. Akame, who can dodge lightning.
Black Zero mode. This form halves his defense in order to double his attack power and quadruple his speed. Absolute Zero. fate with the Eurasia space colony trumps anything metals ever endured. The resulting explosion was similar to the asteroid impact which killed the dinosaurs, an event estimated to have equaled 100 trillion tons of TNT.
A Tansumi who was strong enough to outmuscle this absolute unit of a Tega.
Shikoteza, or the Primus Imperator, was powerful enough to create a massive crater outside the imperial capital. To make a crater of this size, the blast must have equaled over 900 teratons of TNT.
Esdeath's covered a whole continent.
True, but we still had to deduce the exact nature and potential of her storm. Remember, esdeath specifically claimed it took her a few days to make the ice cavalry she used as fuel for the storm. Esdeath could wield about 93 petatons worth of energy on a daily basis.
Even use Dark Hold to temporarily freeze time.
Mahoptima.
Gesundheit. It's a time step she can only use once per day.
This lets him use the Z-Saber for attacks imbued with fire, ice, electricity, and even metal.
Hero can use the Twin Dream technique to create a clone which mimics his every move. He can summon robot dragonflies to fight alongside him, and once built an entire army of ice horse people. There's thousands of them!
Well, it did take her a few days to make them all.